This is Ben from Testive, and we're answering an SAT words and phrases in context question. This question says, as used in line 20, the phrase, the elephant in the room most nearly means. Now, you might feel, and you'd be right, that sometimes the words and phrases in context are simply things that you have to know ahead of time, that it might be hard to actually figure out what they mean based on your reading comprehension if you don't already know what they mean. This is a case that's kind of like that, but let's see if we could answer this without really knowing what the elephant in the room means as a phrase. Now, we need to know that as a phrase, it's a metaphor, of course, and that it means something related to a point being made. So this says, yet critics argue that these measures, so the measures that the governor put in place, still do not address the elephant in the room. Now a colon. So the thing that we're reading next is going to be the elephant in the room. So already I'm using context. This the way that this is the syntax here. The elephant in the room. Most of California's water, about 80%, is consumed by the state's agricultural industry, but the executive order is directed at urban water use. So cities, not agriculture. Okay. So if that's the elephant in the room, then let's look at these options. And actually, let's keep reading first. This has led to accusations that the governor is going easy on agriculture, given that the state's industry, which has shifted to high water use crops, is worth $45 billion a year. Okay. So if we already know what the elephant in the room means, this question is pretty easy to answer. If we don't know what it means, then let's start ruling some things out. So, a challenging problem that nobody has solved. I'm going to rule that out because it doesn't say that this problem is a challenge. It just says it's not being addressed. An inconspicuous but significant problem that needs to be solved. So inconspicuous. So this is a significant problem that needs to be solved. Inconspicuous means something that is sort of hidden. Okay, this doesn't seem hidden. Most of California's water, about 80%, is consumed by the state's agricultural industry. I wouldn't say that that's hidden. It also doesn't make sense if we're thinking about the image of an elephant. An elephant is not inconspicuous. So even just thinking of that language, I can rule that out. Now, it does seem that this is controversial because obviously some politicians would rather preserve this $45 billion a year agricultural industry and cut back in other places. So that's controversial, and people probably do disagree. However, just because that's true doesn't mean that's why the phrase the elephant in the room is being used. Well, now I may be cheating a little bit here, but an elephant in a room, well, I guess that could be controversial, but it certainly seems obvious, right? If we have an elephant inside of a room, that's something that's obvious. An elephant, especially the opposite of inconspicuous, an elephant is an obvious thing. It's very large. So this is the correct answer here. And in some ways, it might be that you just need to know what that phrase means to begin with in order to answer this for sure. But I wanted to show you a process of ruling a couple answers out, narrowing down, and taking your best sort of stab at answering a words and phrases in context question if you don't know what it means to begin with.